Hello everybody and welcome back to the Small Scale Farm Models YouTube channel, and in today's video we're going to be showing you how to cut a sunroof. So a well requested video for the channel, and I've been putting it off for a while because I know I've been waiting for this tractor in the post. So some stuff that will come in handy, well, probably the biggest thing: a drill, your files, flatheads, screwdrivers, snips, glue, a Dremel if you have one, or a saw would also come in handy, and then dot punches as well, also handy to have. And then preferably a tractor with a metal cab. That's what I like to use for my sunroofs, because the Dremel does melt a bit of the plastic if you do cut plastic roofs. I've learned from experience. So without further ado guys, let's get straight into it. So the first step you're going to want to do, if you have a 110/90 for example, there are 2 screws underneath, and you need to loosen the bonnet screw to get the cab off, which I've already done. Bit difficult one-handed, but sure, look, we get her done. So pretty much all we're doing is cutting the sunroof, so this part of the tractor can be put to one side, and you won't be seeing that for the rest of the video. Mainly what we're going to be focusing on is the cab. So first thing you want to do, you want to get your flathead and you just want to pop off the chassis, because when you're cutting the sunroof, if you don't take this off, it can lead to metal filings going into the interior, and it is not fun to clean, trust me, also learned from experience. So once you get that done, we need to take the headliner out of the inside of the cab, because we will be cutting a section of that to go on the inside of the sunroof. And while we're at it, I think I might open the back window as well. And yeah, so I'll get to taking off the undercarriage of the cab. So literally all I've done is used this small flathead, and you just want to get it and literally tip it off the clips, and she comes right up and out. Now, then again, if you want to put your man in the cab, which I'm out of people like figures, so I can't be doing that, but if you wanted to, you could do that as well. So there's another less part we'll be worrying about for this video. Now onto probably the harder part, but first, before we take out the headliner, we just need to pop out the back window, which is a pretty handy job from what I can remember. These Fiats, they're kind of put together like a jigsaw. They do kind of come apart fairly easily. So after that, the next thing we need to do is get our dot punch, and we need to mark 4 holes on the sunroof on the inside. That's what I like to do, just to be safe. I'd rather be under the line than over the line. And once we do that, then we'll get our drill. We'll obviously start with a smaller bit and work our way up through the sizes, and then once we get to that stage, then we use the Dremel. And then once we do that, then we get our files out and we perfect it. But what some people like to do is they like to just cut one side and lift it. I think it's nice looking, but I think it's just untidy. So that's why I like to use the Plastistruct. It just gives you a bit of a cleaner look, and I think it looks better, and when it's done right, it looks well. So we'll get onto that now. So after a bit of prying around, you get the headliner out of 110/90. As you can see, I have got the cab stripped a good bit, just to be safe. Like, there's no point in accidentally hitting a flathead off one of the windows and cracking it to bits. So that's what I did. I just took out all the windows. I didn't take out the front two because they're connected to handrails, but that's pretty much the gist. You just want to take that out to make your life easier and to make the model look better. So now what we need to do is we need to cut well, we need to put a dot punch in this corner, that corner, that corner, and that corner. And then once we do that, then we drill a small hole in either side and make the hole slightly bigger then, to where the edge of the Dremel bit doesn't go over. And you just want to run along it and run up and back across. So I'll dot punch it, drill it, and then I'll show you what way I use the Dremel. So after a bit of help from the dot punch and the drill, as you can see, the 4 holes are just about in place. They're not perfectly square into the corners, which is fine by me. I'd rather have to file to the line than be over it, as I've said. So now what you want to do is you want to make sure you have a cutting disc on your Dremel. And if you don't have a Dremel, I recommend getting one. So you want to set it on a slow enough speed, not 5, just in between 10 and 15, and just lightly go along, making sure not to go over. I even like to just go along it and then try smack it out, because as I say, I'd rather not be at the line than be over the line. So I'll get this cut out and I'll talk to you after that. So with a little help from the Dremel, I just cut out a square, and as I said before, I'd rather have to file than be over. So now I have a bit of filing to do to just square this up a small bit, and I tried not to mark it as best as I could. As you can see, the cab is still in good condition. So we've just a bit of filing to do with the small files, and then we'll get to cutting the plastistruct. So with a little bit of tediousness, the sunroof is just about finished. Well, the hole for it anyway. So what we need to do now is we need to, well, first we need to cut out that, but that won't be till near the end. So now we need to get our plastistruct and we need to measure the width across and how high up we want it. So what I like to do is I like to place it down on top, then pull a line, and then from the back pull a line up, and then it'll show me the square that I need. And then once I have that done, I file off the corners and get it glued in. And then, but before I do that, then I want to just touch this up with a bit of paint. You can buy RAL Fia Agri. I don't know whether you'd use New Holland 11090 brown or Fia. I'm sure it's the same, but yeah, so there's still a bit of work to do left. So after a bit of cutting from the plastistruct, we have a rough shape of what the sunroof is going to look like, and you can start to see it's taking shape, and it'll really start to show once you put a bit of paint to it. But what we're going to do as well, we're going to round the corners just to give it a bit more detail, or that won't really make sense because this sunroof is square. Scratch that. We're not going to do that. We're just going to file it and make it look clean and tidy, and then we'll leave it till the morning to set in paint, and then we'll finish it off with the headliner on the inside, and then we'll open the back window then last. So it's the next day, and as you can see, I've got my bit of plastistruct painted, and I've also cut the little square out the inside of the cab liner. And now all you need to do is you need to cut down your headliner to size to fit the size of the sunroof. And that's only a little detail, not many people do that, but I think it'll look better if I do that. So all I need to do now is I need to glue that in place, and then I need to stick my sunroof on. And while I was waiting to do that, I also put the back window open, which looks pretty good. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to glue this on, and then we're going to glue it in place. And then that'll be the tractor finished for a while. So with a little bit of patience and a little bit of help from a bit of glue, the 11090 is pretty much done. So I've also put on the original front wheel, and I put the mirrors back on. And the tractor is still in full working condition. As you can see, the sunroof and the back window are now open. So I think it's time we get a few pictures and leave her off. So if this helped you guys understand how I do my sunroofs, please let me know down in the comments. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.